So you've probably seen this headline pop up, and let's be honest, it sounds a little wild. The United States wants to buy Greenland. It's one of those stories that makes you do a double take. Is it a joke? A publicity stunt? Well, let's get into it, because the real story here is about so much more than just a massive real estate deal. It's actually about a huge global shift that's happening right now.
And look, the first reaction for a lot of people, like this Reddit user, is that it's all about ego. You know, a modern-day version of the Louisiana Purchase, something to get your name in the history books. And on the surface, you can kind of see why people think that. It's a big, bold idea, and it for sure gets people talking.
But is that all there is to it? No way. When you really start to dig in, you find that this interest in Greenland goes way beyond any one person. It's tied to these massive geopolitical, strategic, and economic forces that are literally reshaping our world. And Greenland, believe it or not, is sitting right in the middle of it all.
Okay, so before we get into the why, we have to sort out the who. Who would you even call to make an offer on Greenland? Because it's not like you can just look up a real estate agent.
Here's how it works politically. Greenland is largely self-governing. It has its own prime minister, its own parliament, and they handle their own internal business. But, and this is the key detail, it's still part of the Kingdom of Denmark. And that means Denmark is in charge of foreign policy and defense. So any kind of international deal, especially one about territory or the military, has to go through Copenhagen.
Now, to really get why the US is so interested, we have to rewind a bit. Because this idea that Greenland is important, that's not new. Not at all. It's actually been a critical piece of American defense strategy for almost 100 years.
If you ever look at a globe from the top down, it just clicks. You see Greenland, this enormous island, basically standing guard between North America and Europe over the Arctic. Through Denmark, it's part of NATO, and there's already a treaty that lets the US have troops and crucial early warning radar systems there. For decades, it's been absolutely vital for North American defense.
Which brings us to the big question, right? If Greenland has been this important for so long, why the sudden, very public interest in owning it? What's the new variable in the equation that's turning up the heat on this giant island of ice? Well, the answer is the ice itself.
The single biggest thing changing everything is climate change. What used to be a frozen, totally impassable expanse is quickly becoming a new ocean. And that's opening up possibilities and potential conflicts that once seemed like science fiction.
The fundamental reality is this. The Arctic is warming up way faster than most other places on Earth, and because of that, the sea ice is disappearing. And this isn't just an environmental story. It's a story about money, shipping, and global power.
And this isn't some far-off theory. Get this. According to the Arctic Council, shipping traffic up there jumped 37% in just 10 years. The ice isn't just melting, it's opening for business.
For centuries, explorers were obsessed with finding a Northwest Passage, a shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific. It was a myth, a dream. While today, that passage is becoming a reality. And by 2050, we might see ships sailing directly over the North Pole. This completely changes the map for global trade, and Greenland is sitting right at the front door.
So we've got military position, we've got new shipping lanes, but that brings us to the third layer of this whole thing, and honestly, it might be the most valuable part of the story. Because as the ice melts away, it's not just revealing new water, it's revealing what's buried underneath the land.
First, let's quickly define a term you're hearing more and more: critical raw materials, or CRMs. These aren't just any old rocks. They are the essential ingredients for our modern world. We're talking everything from your smartphone and electric cars to next-gen defense technology. And here's the catch. The supply is often controlled by just a handful of countries.
This chart from the EU really paints the picture. See that top right corner? The materials up there, like rare earths and niobium, are the ones that give world leaders headaches. They are incredibly important for the economy, but getting them is risky. So, finding a new, stable source, that's a huge strategic win.
So, what does this have to do with Greenland? Well, take a look at this map. It's basically a treasure map. Every one of those red diamonds is a known major mineral deposit. The green zones are areas with huge potential. You can see it right there. Greenland is just loaded with this stuff.
And we are not talking about small amounts here. The numbers are just staggering. Based on surveys, Greenland is sitting on an estimated 36 million tons of rare earth elements, almost 6 million tons of niobium, over 12 million tons of titanium. These are the kinds of numbers that can completely redraw the world's economic map.
So, with all this incredible strategic and economic value, you'd think a sale would be a slam dunk. But there's a huge problem with looking at Greenland like it's just an asset on a spreadsheet. The people who actually live there, and the nation that governs them, see things very, very differently.
The response from Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, was fast and blunt. She completely shut the idea down. From Denmark's point of view, this isn't up for negotiation. It's about their sovereignty, their identity. And maybe even more importantly, Greenland's own Prime Minister, Mute Egude, said the same thing, but with even more force. For the people of Greenland, this isn't just some territory that belongs to Denmark, it's their home. It's a powerful reminder that there are people and a culture at the heart of this big geopolitical chess game.
So where does all this leave us? The offer to buy Greenland might be completely off the table, but the reasons behind that offer are more real than ever. What we're really seeing here is the grand opening of a new global arena. So let's just put it all together. You have a critical military post that's suddenly more important than ever. You have brand new shipping routes opening up that could change global trade. And underneath it all, you have this massive, untapped treasure chest of minerals that everyone needs for the 21st century. It's that powerful combination that has turned Greenland into a hotspot for global powers, not just the US, but Russia and China too.
So at the end of the day, this was never just about buying an island. It was a loud and clear signal to the world that the race for the Arctic has officially begun. As the ice keeps melting, it's revealing new seas and new land, sure, but it's also revealing these huge new questions about power, about resources, and about who's in control. And the biggest question of all is, who's going to write the rules for this new frontier?